Borough fans, welcome back to another match preview episode. Once again, hello to everyone that is currently watching this episode on YouTube, and also a massive hello to everybody that are listening via Spotify and all the audibles that we post on. Guys, here it is, our 10th League One match of the 2025/26 season. And oh my God, who thought we'd be playing Luton Town again, but in League One this time? My God, Luton Town, a little bit like ourselves, have had a crazy last 3 to 4 years. And we host Luton Town on Saturday. It is a massive match, isn't it? Second place, the 7th in League One. Wow. And also on another note, I cannot believe it's October already in the season. It's absolutely flying by. Joining us on the Stevenage Football Club podcast tonight to chat a little bit about Luton Town over not just this season, the last few years, because it has been an unbelievable few years as a Luton Town fan, but also to look at this season and to chat about the big game on Saturday. We have Adam from the Oak Road Hatter podcast. Adam, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Thank you, mate. Didn't expect necessarily a few years ago to be invited onto a Stevenage pod, but that is the way football goes, and here we are. So yeah, let's chat all things Stevenage Luton.
I love that, mate. I mean, what is it? Is it Derby Day? I don't even know if it is a derby. What is it Saturday?
Well, look, I got to clear this up on behalf of everybody from my side. It's not a derby. I would say, like, let's call it the Battle of Hitchin or something. Like, because we're either side of Hitchin, so let's call it something a little bit different to a derby. But it's an important game for both. It's an important game for us because we need to show something, and we'll come on to that. It's obviously a big game for Stevenage because you're flying high, and I mean, biggest home game of the season, probably. So, it's a big one.
I was going to say, do you know it'd be really fitting? A Battle of the Chicken Georges, because I
I
do
mean,
believe one there's.
yeah, I'd go with that. I'd go with that over the derby. So yeah.
I love that. I'm all for that. Adam, really quickly, mate, before, and I've already mentioned it there, but before we chat about Saturday, Luton Town, oh my God. I mean, we were just saying off the pod. I think the last time that we played yourselves was 2018. And do you know what? Just as we started recording, it was the 7-1 defeat at your place, I think, that day, years ago. I mean, that's gone so quick. A lot has happened with Luton Town and ourselves, to be honest with you, within that time. But Luton Town as a supporter over the last few years, unbelievable. Promoted to the Premier League, experienced the season in the Premier League, and now in League One. Just speak to us about the last few years at Luton and that obviously that incredible season getting into the Premier League.
Yeah, I mean, it's been crazy. We obviously rode the crest of a wave for a while. It's been well documented our rise through the divisions, and I can't sit here and say that I ever thought I'd see Luton get to the Prem because there is such a gulf between everybody in it, the big boys club, the financial club, and people and clubs who aren't. So we had a good season in that promotion season. We had a good season the season before that. We lost to Huddersfield in the semis of the playoffs. You kind of thought probably our opportunity gone to get to a playoff final or to make it to the Prem, but we built on that season. And we obviously, finished third in the league behind Burnley and Sheffield United, who were, we were kind of clinging on to Sheffield United for a while, but ultimately they were a different level. So we settled for the playoffs. We finished third. We had a tough two legs against Sunderland. We lost the first one. I think it was 2-1. But you know what Kenilworth Road's like. It can be horrible and hostile. And the second leg we made it exactly that, 1-2-0, and got to the final against Cov. And that day at Wembley, for probably every Luton fan under the age of, I don't know, like 40 or something, anyone that basically wasn't there in 88 for the league, for the Littlewoods Cup final, that was our biggest and best day being a Luton fan. And it was just unbelievable. The whole game, the fact it went to penalties, not even just, a few penalties that I think it was 8-7 or something like that from memory. And then you're in the big time and you think, you're pinching yourself. You're thinking, well, Luton are a reasonable sized club, but we're in the Premier League with the big boys, with playing Haaland and Salah, and um, yeah, it was just absolutely magical. And then we gave it a good go. I think even our arch enemies would probably delight in the fact we got relegated, but they would be hard pushed to say we didn't give it a good crack.
Mm.
Obviously last season we didn't give it a good crack, but less said about that the better, really. But yeah, it's been an unbelievable few years. Obviously we've had that peak. We're on the downward trajectory right now, but hoping that we can level out soon and see where we go.
I was going to ask that because obviously after the Premier League, I can imagine, was it really difficult going back down to the Championship? Or did you kind of, when you went up to the Premier League, you kind of accepted the fact that you could potentially be playing Championship level next season? I think I have a friend that's a Leeds United fan, and he tells me Leeds United are like the yo-yo club of Championship to Premier League. They go up, but then you also automatically think, oh, we could be back in the Championship. Was that a difficult thing at Luton Town, kind of going back to the Championship after the Premier League?
I think for supporters it wasn't, because you got staunch fans that would have been in the Prem and said, oh yeah, no, we'll stay up, there'll be three worse teams, when in reality you knew there wouldn't be many more than three worse teams. If that makes sense. You're always going to be in that battle because of the gulf in resources. The thing different about us is that we had to put money into Kenilworth Road to get it up to the level. We have to put money into Power Court, new ground on the way. So we did have a limited amount of resources that we could put into the squad. So we're always going to be in that battle. So from a fan's perspective, I would say a large majority looked at it and went, one season, this is going to be amazing. Let's enjoy it. And we'll go back down. But we will hopefully be that yo-yo team, that West
Mm,
Brom of the 2010s sort of thing. Like, we'd have enough finances and a good squad behind us that we could potentially bounce back. Now, obviously, our mistake last summer was that we didn't change the squad anywhere near enough. We were extremely passive in the window. I think we signed five in the last week of the summer window, and we'd signed four or five, in the whole window before that. So we sort of just walked into the season, and then every club's seen it. When you're in a losing habit and in a downward spiral, it's extremely hard to pull yourself out of it, and we just
mm,
never really managed to do it. We obviously lost Rob Edwards in January, which was probably 2 months too late. It should have happened sooner, but we lost him in January. Matt Bloomfield came in, took 8 or 9 games to get that first win, which is a good chunk of the season. When you're fighting,
mm.
and we did show signs from February, March. We showed something different, and we won some games. But ultimately, the biggest game was West Brom away, and we showed everything that we needed to avoid. We shipped 5 goals. We scored three, but we needed to get something out of the game. And if you score five, you've got no. Sorry, if you concede five, you've got no hope. So yeah, it was just a bit. Well, I say a bit. It was very demoralising to go back to back and to be back in League One, really.
Coming into this season, obviously all of that kind of, well, the journey that you've just spoken about, the promotion, the Premier League, the Championship, and into League One. Now, going into this kind of division, I think I had Luton Town right in that top two to go up, to be honest. When I looked at your squad and I saw, Anderson, Narky Wells, Saville, the top players that are, really Championship level. I think a lot of us think they are. I can imagine going into this division, it was all about going straight back up. How were the kind of preparations in the summer, and also with Bloomfield as well, because it's his first summer with Luton Town, isn't it?
Yeah, preparation's really good. We had a big overhaul of the squad, and we started quite early with that, with releasing a couple of players and early signings as well. I mean, our first two signings were Cal Naismith, who came on loan from January last season and did really well, and he knows the club inside out. And then George Saville, and you think, okay, I can get behind this. You've got two better than League One players, both leaders, both really experienced. So it was starting to take shape pretty well. And I think our recruitment's been pretty good considering we've had to revamp basically the whole squad and bring in the best part of 14 players. So, I think pre-season was good. Bloomfield seemed to get some camaraderie there, togetherness. Um, so there were no real complaints from pre-season, given the massive task of the overhaul that was needed.
10 matches in, 5 wins, 1 draw, 4 defeats. Obviously, you played Blackpool last night. I was keeping eyes on that. 2-2 draw, kind of penalty in the last, well, I say last minute. I know there was still a few minutes added on in the game. How's it been so far from a Luton Town perspective? Obviously, seventh place, you'd like to be higher, but still 16 points on the board at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, it's been frustrating. I don't say that from a league position perspective necessarily, although we'd probably like to and expect to be a bit higher already. But it's been the inconsistent performances, the tinkering with team sheets, the persisting with a formation beyond the last two games that hasn't worked, hasn't suited the players. And for background there, we've sort of for the most part this season we've played a 3-5-2, but without wing backs that are natural wing backs. When we thought about pre-season, we had Alfie Doughty and we had a fit Izzy Jones, and you think, you know, that's just insane at left back, left wing back and right wing back for League One, probably Championship. But obviously Doughty's gone to Millwall and Izzy Jones is currently injured. So the frustration from us is we persisted with this formation without actual wing backs or proper wing backs, and it's not provided that cohesiveness or any sort of identity to our play. What we have done the last two games, so Saturday against Doncaster and obviously last night against Blackpool, we've gone to a 4-2-3-1. And I wouldn't necessarily say we have fullbacks, but it's a lot better suited to the squad we do have. Um, and at times last night we played pretty well. At times we were rank average. So it's just trying to find that consistency and the same thing within our results as well. You said there we've played 10, won 5, lost 4. I think for me, that's a couple too many defeats, even if they are turned into draws. That looks a lot better. So yeah, I mean, Bloomfield doesn't have a lot of time on his side, I don't think, and a defeat on Saturday by you guys certainly won't be adding to his time.
I was going to ask you about Bloomfield actually, because I was having a little look on Twitter last night at some of the reactions to the 2-2 draw and the amount of fans that weren't happy with him. I was just about to ask you, do you think actually his days could potentially be numbered in the next few weeks?
I think they have to be, and I don't like seeing managers get sacked. We're not a club that typically has done it very often. But this is a season where we have to bounce back. You know, my expectation of the season still remains a top two finish. I think a playoff place, unless it results in guaranteed promotion, which we know is not the case, to me that's just another season of failure. And I don't think that's unrealistic given the squad we have, the resources we have compared to everybody else in the league. So the problem we have right now is that an opinion like that from myself differs to that of our chief exec, because the opinion there seems to be that, well, actually a playoff place is success. So I think there's the majority of fans would agree with myself as opposed to Gary Sweet. And that's where the pressure comes from. Every defeat, you move further away from the reality of a top two finish. And for us, that just isn't acceptable given what we've had to watch. I would say the last two seasons, but particularly most of last season.
Yeah. Do you think it was, I don't want to say a bold appointment in the first place, but do you think it was the wrong appointment when you appointed Bloomfield, given obviously I know Bloomfield did really well with Wickham and we had great experience in League One, and actually if you go into League One and you've already got the manager there, it seems like it's going to be quite a swift transition. But do you think it was probably the wrong appointment?
I mean, hindsight would say yes, because ultimately Bloomfield was brought in to keep us up, and we didn't stay up. But it's the only way I can describe it is it's a typical Luton appointment. It's going with a more of a data-driven manager. Firstly, the manager himself being data driven, but secondly, the data that we're seeing in where to go with our manager,
Mm.
someone like Bloomfield comes out on top of the pile for the way they want to try and play. It was similar when we appointed Nathan Jones all those years ago. You know, I mean, most of his experience had been as a coach somewhere or an assistant. Obviously Bloomfield had the Wickham experience, so that probably kind of, did the job in the end. But yeah, hindsight would tell you it was a wrong one. I would have preferred to have gone for an experienced championship manager to get us out of that situation, and then potentially you assess again in the summer that we've just had.
God, yeah. Do you know, I was just thinking to myself when you went Nathan Jones, I thought, whoa, what a character. I mean, that guy. I mean, was he at Charlton now, isn't he? And I was
Yeah.
watching stuff of him at Charlton, getting on his knees and stuff. And oh my god, what was he like as a manager? I bet he was mad as a box of frogs when he Nathan Jones. God.
Well, you've seen the videos. Like I mean, when he's yours, he's brilliant. You
Yeah,
just you buy into it, the players buy into it, and that's why he has success, bar going to a couple of clubs where you've got egos and players that aren't willing to get behind the manager. But when he goes to clubs like us, obviously came back to us, didn't he, as well? And
mm,
Charlton, play clubs where you don't have massive egos. He knows how to manage football clubs. And yes, he's an absolute nutcase. I think we won away at Swansea one night and he jumped into the away fans to celebrate because he's a Cardiff boy. And you think,
doesn't
fair
surprise
play.
me.
Yeah, he's absolutely nuts. But as you say, or as I say, when he's yours, he's amazing. When you're an opponent, you don't like him really.
Yeah, God, we know that feeling with Steve Evans. My God, when
Yeah,
you're
exactly.
against that guy, when he was ours, it was like we loved him. Do you know what I mean? He was so good. But obviously, I know now we've got Revs with a bit more professional approach rather than well, what I was going to say is Steve used to do these fist bumps, and he used to look so ugly doing it. And now
Yeah,
we've got a manager that aesthetically looks great, and he's doing the
yeah.
fist bumps. Like, brilliant. But no, we get your feeling with that. The players, Adam, really quickly before we chat about the big game Saturday, I know that you've mentioned some of the players already, but who have been the players that have really, really impressed you so far this season? But also vice versa, who have been the players that haven't particularly impressed you?
I mean, starting on players that have impressed, George Saville's been really solid in midfield, but then you would expect that from an experienced head who's played most of his career above League One. So he's been a really good signing. Someone who's quite new to the club is Shaden Morris. We only signed him on deadline day, but he's a very, very, very quick right winger, and he's already done some really good stuff for us, and has a turn of pace that's insane. Hopefully you'll see it on Saturday and it'll benefit us. So definitely those two I think would be ones to watch and probably stand out. Players that maybe haven't impressed so far. I think Millie Ali's had a tough season so far, and everybody expected him to be the star boy because he did really well in the championship for the last 10, 12 games. But he's just not really found any form yet. He's playing on the left, so that was either left wing back in the formation that wasn't working, which did restrict him somewhat. But even the last couple of games, he's played left in that kind of three of the 4-2-3-1. But he's just struggling. He's kind of running into to blind alleyways, and it's just not clicking for him at the moment. So yeah, obviously he's still one to watch, but he really needs something that will settle him down into the season because there's a long way to go in the season, and the thought of Morris on one side and Ali on the left, if they're both in form, is frightening for any defence at this level.
Game Saturday. It's a massive one. Yourselves are in seventh place, a part of that playoff pack at the minute, pretty much. We're up in second, and got to be honest, we're still pinching ourselves a little bit. I look at the league table every day, Adam, and like, well, almost in tears. It's like, what's going on here? What do you kind of look at the game at Saturday and think, do you think you'll get a result? How do you think you'll play in the game? Just how do you think you'll do overall?
I mean, it's super hard to predict Luton at the moment. Away games, we seem to come out of the blocks slowly, um, which we just won't be able to afford to do at the weekend because if we do that, we'll probably be a couple of goals down, given your home form, and obviously the confidence within the squad at Stevenage. So it's very, very hard to say what I think we're going to turn in performance wise. If I'm going for a prediction, I think I would have to firmly sit on the fence and go for a 1-1 draw, purely because I don't know which Luton's going to turn up. and you guys are won 4 out of 4 at home. So yeah, it's very much a cop out, but I think it's a must not lose for me. For Bloomfield, it's a must win, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure he's going to get that win, so I'm going to go for a 1-1.
Love that. It's, to be honest, I think we'd probably take that as well. Actually, I know that our home form's great, but I think if you offered me a 1-1, I'd probably take it. Really quickly, actually, Adam, hand on heart, do you think Luton Town will get into that top 2 at the end of the season, or are you still just, because the division seems so odd at the minute? I mean, I was reading a thing the other day of people saying, you would never have predicted the top 3 at the minute, and it's nearly 10 matches in. So do you really believe that you will go back up this season?
Yeah, it's a mental league, isn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy.
We've been below par and we're 7th, and you think, how does that work? Do I think we'll get top 2? I'm going to say yes, and I'm basically going to caveat that because if it clicks under Bloomfield, then we'll get top 2, which is where we absolutely where we should be as a minimum. If it doesn't click very soon, Bloomfield won't be the manager of Luton. Someone else will come in, and I think they'll take the squads and the players and the performances onto another level. Because as much as I've criticised the board, they are unlikely to let the mediocre performances and the inconsistent results carry on for too much longer, given the mistake they made last year with Edwards. So I think we will get top 2, but I can't hand on heart say it's going to be with Matt Bloomfield in charge.
Yeah, I can see that at all. Adam, really quickly, mate, at the end of every match preview episode this season, I've been doing a little competition, a little bit of good fun, and we've been doing a predict the teams competition. Okay, so I'm going to ask you. I've been doing it with everybody that we've had on so far. The person that can get both teams' prediction either bang on or the closest will win a prize sent from us at the Stevenage Football Club podcast. And basically, you've got to predict Luton Town's finish this season, but also Stevenage's this season. What are you going for both teams?
I like this. I like that. I like that idea. So final league position, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, on the basis of what I've just said about Luton, I'm gonna go second.
I was going to say, wouldn't it be funny if you went, do you know what, I think 6th or 5th?
Yeah, just contradict myself for the last 5 minutes. No, I'm going to go for second place for us, confidently, maybe slightly crazily as well. I'm going to be nice to you boys, and I might get pelters on Saturday, but I reckon I'm gonna say that you boys will get 6th and you'll get that last playoff place.
Oof, we would absolutely love that. That'd be unbelievable if we got 6th. Wow. Do you know what I thought you were going to say? I thought you were going to say, do you know what? We'll get 3rd, and well, you'll get 3rd, we'll get 6th, and we'll play each other in the playoffs. That would be
I think that would be Beds and Hearts Police's worst nightmare, other than obviously Luton.
Imagine. They'd need all the Chicken George trucks in the world from Luton and Hitchin to come to the game, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
Adam and man, thank you so much for coming on. Where can all the Borough fans go and find you at the podcast? Because it is a brilliant little listen.
Yeah. Well, obviously, if any Borough fans want to have a listen to us, we are at Oak Road Hatter on all socials. And any Luton fans catching this as well. If you've not come across us, then you can find us in the same place.
Amazing. Well, look, Borough fans, please go and follow the chaps on their social media platforms. And we will be back on Sunday reacting to the big game against Luton Town. Again, who thought we'd be playing in League One? My God. On Sunday, go and give us a like and a follow and a subscribe on YouTube and also on our Audibles. And again, guys, we'll be back on Sunday reacting to the big game and looking ahead to our Football League Trophy match against Bromley and the League One match next Saturday away at Peterborough United. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And at this time, guys, as always, you've been listening to the Stevenage Football Club podcast.